TribalScale is a global innovation firm that helps enterprises adapt and thrive in the digital era. Through agile practices, they transform teams, build best-in-class digital products, and create disruptive startups. There's a great description for a company whose Vice President, Matthew Street, joins us now from Washington, D.C. Matthew is Vice President, Sales and Marketing with TribalScale, a company that's been in the news for, well, its critique of the Government of Canada's spending practices. Matthew Street, good morning and welcome.
Hey, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's nice to have you. It's great to have you with us. I love the description on your website of what your company does. Now, Matthew, we had Bill Curry from the Globe and Mail, their Ottawa bureau chief, on last week talking about the three-part investigation that he conducted into the ArriveCan app, which cost you and me, the taxpayers of Canada, $54 million. And in the course of his reporting, Bill joined us on the radio, Matthew, and told us about you and the other company, Laser Technologies, and the hackathon that you had planned basically to try to reproduce the ArriveCan app for something that would come in under $54 million. So pick up the ball and run with it there if you would, please.
Yeah, sure. It was actually Bill's story that we were discussing in our morning stand-up at TribalScale. We have a stand-up every morning where we talk about top global tech news, and obviously, this caught our attention. And as we're talking about it, our team is very passionate and self-motivated. And we started, all having been users of ArriveCan, we were like, wow,
sure.
$54 million for this, to be developed, that's just not possible. And so what we wanted to do is, just put a spotlight on how, the minds of the Canadian tech community could have built this app for a lot cheaper and a lot quicker, and quite frankly, a lot better. We had built it soup to nuts. And that's what we wanted to do. And in doing that, we also wanted to provide a solution moving forward to help the government not have this kind of spend on these type of technology solutions that they're looking at in the future.
Right. Now, in terms of the app that you and Laser, the other company, both did your own experiments individually, you didn't create the app, you duplicated the app, right, Matthew? So the element of coming up with something out of the blue wasn't part of what you were conducting. You were simply, now that you had the mission statement, let's develop an app to correspond with that, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we replicated the ArriveCan app. Obviously it would take more time, but we were coming up with the concept and building it from scratch. So we were able to replicate it, in 48 hours. And this was a voluntary hackathon that our team wanted to do, again, to put this spotlight out there.
Sure.
And now, kind of what's fallen out of that, we've started the Canadian Technology Consortium. And, when we started getting attention for doing this, we put out a, sign-up form for anyone from the Canadian tech community to join us, with this mission of providing a free resource for the government to come to get these answers and just consult with on future, tech procurements that they're going to have coming up.
What a great idea, Matthew. So what's the participation? How many people have been jumping in? More than a few, I would suspect.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I was, blown away by the response, but actually, I shouldn't be with all the great minds in the tech community here in Canada. We had over 50 people, within the first few days fill out the form to want to participate voluntarily in this consortium. And we held our first meeting yesterday at 7:45 a.m. Eastern time, and I'll be the first to apologize for you guys on the West Coast. We're gonna adjust.
We'll get you next time. Okay.
The next meeting, right. But we had over 40 people show up, start contributing, really innovative ideas, and this isn't a TribalScale thing. We want this to be, a Canadian technology community thing, because we don't have all the answers, but I think collectively with this brilliant group that's come together, we could have all the answers and really provide the government with this unbelievable resource for free. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we want to do, is just have taxpayer dollars, be used smartly, and we have all the smarts right here at home to be able to do that.
Indeed, and it's a great idea too. Good for you. I wanted to zoom in on one aspect of the $54 million tab attached to ArriveCan, Matthew, and that's the fact that the major award of the bulk of the money went to a small-ish company with fewer than a dozen employees who turned around and basically subcontracted or farmed out the whole project. They were sort of the middleman, and so they got to spread a lot of money around to a lot of different sources. That's a typical political solution. Spread a lot of money around, make a lot of constituents happy. But in the process, they blew $54 million.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not political myself. We're trying to do this for both sides of the aisle.
I appreciate that.
We want to bring that capital efficiency and productivity to the table, because that's what we do for our clients at TribalScale. So we're a resource now with this consortium for the government, and we're encouraging more people to sign up and join in from the tech community. And you can find information on our social medias right now. We're going to be building a Slack community and putting out a resource landing page for the government, and this is just what's come out of our first meeting. So
sure.
I think good things are ahead.
I don't think it's. I'm not trying to be political on you and draw you into something you're not particularly keen to be drawn into. But I think it crosses political lines. It's government procedure and procurement attitudes, Matthew, that I'm going after here, rather than political flags. Because procurement at the government level is left essentially to bureaucrats, and given their choice and the way they like to do things, it's pretty easy to see how that trap that cost us $54 million, instead of perhaps, what would you estimate, by the way, a private company like yours, like TribalScale, if you were issued the contract by the Government of Canada to create an ArriveCan type app all by yourselves, in-house, what do you think the total tab might turn out to be?
Honestly, just a rough estimate, not knowing all the details of the scope, under $1 million easily.
Wow. Okay, and that's what we heard from Bill, and we also heard from the folks at Laser Technologies, the other company involved in this hackathon you had last weekend. What was the reaction when you had this meeting yesterday, Matthew, with all of these representatives and brains, the brain power behind that gathering you had yesterday of 40 participants? What was the general tone of the meeting with respect to government spending and the kind of efficiencies you automatically represent?
Yeah, it was honestly the tone. I think everyone kind of came to the table looking to change the outlook and with a solution outlook versus just there to complain about what happened.
Right.
Everyone had gathered together and spent their time at this meeting because of that. So once we were there, it was more solution focused and sharing ideas of different experiences and working with the government. We even had, a lobbyist there giving us advice on from their experience. So there was a lot of great minds, and the attitude and the vibe of the meeting was positive and solution oriented. So it was a good start.
What appetite, if any, do you sense? Is really new. This is brand new. This is days old, Matthew. So it's a tough question to ask. But what attitude, if any, do you sense for reception from this new consortium you've created? This offering the Government of Canada tons of free advice from really smart, accomplished people. Is there anyone in government interested in talking to you?
And that was, a topic we talked about yesterday in the meeting, and that's really the next step is to start reaching out to the government as we build this resource. We're going to create this landing page and let them know that we're coming from a great place here to help them. So that's the first item on our agenda, is to make those connections, with government officials to be able to be this resource for them. So to be sure they're aware that we're out there and that we're ready to you offer them this free advice, just from our community here.
All right. Well, in that regard, Matthew, we wish you considerable success. It's going to be a bit of a chore, but well done for putting the effort and the energy into it as far as you have. Thanks very much for joining us today to flesh it all out on the radio for us too, Matthew. We appreciate it.
No, thanks for having me. And again, the next meeting for the consortium will be a time where you guys on the West Coast can join in and help us out too. So look forward to that, and we look forward to what's ahead here. Thank you again.